Thank you, Ambo, for inviting me. And that's the most important part of my presentation. Okay.
Come on.
Okay, so hi there. And let me remind all of us that today is Saturday, so please a bit relax. And you are welcome to interrupt me anytime, just not too often. And for the start, and my presentation will be a bit relaxed and casual, that I will just review my work and also use my work as an example to respond to the topics of today. And so I will not go too deep into the making of my works, but if you are interested, you are very welcome to ask me any questions about my work, of course. Next, yeah, great. So I make kinetic things. So I make them as mechanical, and I'm avoiding use, in my work, I avoid the use of electronics and some circuits behind it, because I wanted to show the principle and the mechanisms and all of them to the audience. And I will explain this later and why I'm doing this. Hopefully it will be presented later in my presentation too. So first of all, let's look at my previous work. This is some clock machines, and it is not an ordinary work, but ordinary clock, but instead it's counting for a chaotic time. So in a regular clock, we have some regular mechanism to count time for the tick-tock. But this one, I have some interesting mechanism so that the tick and tock is rather chaotic. So, and it looks good for me. So I am having fun for making this. And I think for my works, I always consider them as my toys. So I always have fun when I make my works. And this one, yeah, and the next one is some dinosaur-like things, because I like dinosaurs. And this works, it is first of all outdoors, and then the audience can sit there and ride on the dinosaur thing. And there are chimes inside and hit the rib of this dinosaur. And it will make some noise. And that noise is quite loud. It can be heard, I think, as far as 100 meters away. And because the metal is so hard, so I consider it is a hard metal sound. Okay, no one laughs. I'm such a bad joke teller. Okay, and then you can see the scale of this. Yeah, and this, I think she is one of the model when they shooting, but she is not doing her job well, obviously. Because she is so attracted to this sculpture, so I forgive her. Okay, another one of my work is some mechanical bird, and I make this because I love birds. So, and you can see all of my works. The mechanics is exposed, so you can see all the inner workings of my works. Yeah, so please play video 1.
Both of them?
Yeah, V1 first, yep. Thanks. Yep. So this is my work, and you can see here, it is not moving very regularly. It is on and off, running and stop. It is show the chaotic ticking, the nature of it. And you can see very complicated clockworks here. And okay.
I just put them on like a AD.
Nice. Will we return to video 1?
Just check out some videos.
Thanks.
Let's see what happens first. If not,
Sure. So you can see all of the stuff here. I make them because it is good looking and it doesn't have any deep meaning, so don't think too much of it. Yeah, here. And because I think black and gold is quite cool, so I make it so. And there's not some meaningful thing inside. But I put a lot of efforts to make all these things work. Here, the rear part is some chimes, some brass chimes. So when it is about time, which I don't know exactly when, then it will, the hammer will hit the chimes. So it will make some noise again. Let's back on today's topics, because actually I was invited to talk about this, right? but it seems it is only me to talk it quite obviously. So I guess we already covered about the concept of such mapping last week, right?
Yep.
So I will use this model to as a reference framework and analytical framework to look at my previous work, some of my previous work. I choose this model not only because this is exactly what this topic is about, and also because the professor, his name is the most easiest to pronounce. Okay, next. McCormack, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in his framework, we have some data, and we do some mapping, and then devise, and we perceive it. So in my previous work, I do a lot of, I help a lot of artists to do a lot of device work exactly like that. Some of the example I will show here. This is back some years ago, and we work as a team with Exceed, art group Exceed, and we designed a device like a harness. So this device actually will detect what data is about the location of where you are about in a gallery. So when you go, when you're at an exact place, some location, then it will trigger the device to play you some curatorial comments on the works. And also, it has a clock here to somehow to give you some pressures to make you run faster. I don't know why, don't ask me. And the harness, I designed this thing is a bit like steampunk style. And the things you see here is actually a contact headphones. So this is one of the device. This is me. And you see my happy face here. And we are installing the harness for the audience, for the visitor here. And so you can see a very clear process here. We harness data, and then we map into some, in some way, and to present it and to play it with the audience. And another example is we make a lot of art device to represent data or represent some contents into some visual form. So here is some, I think it is quite ordinary, and I don't think I need to explain what it is, right? So this is a device visualize some things. And also you can see a lot of mechanical details here. So it is quite fun to look at too. So the content is not only the data, the relationship is not only between data and the audience, but also the device itself sometimes, especially when we do it in an art form. So the device itself, sometimes in art is not that transparent. We sometimes notice this too, this thing and also this harness. So the device itself is, in this case, in such case, is not transparent. And yeah, and this is another example, just some visual device. And another device I made is some knob. And this is actually very common in the art world, because in exhibition we use a lot of them just in different forms. And this one. So this is a turning knob I designed for an artist. And you can see the structure is laminate structure, because it is modularized to make the haptic feedback in a lot of different ways. First of all, I have a wheel that has a lot of slots in the wheel and have a ball bearing to click between them, so it creates some clicking feedbacks, and also a degree limiter here, and also some friction wheel, so you can have a very nice damping feeling of the turn. So this is made to be a quite robust turning knob for an exhibition. And of course, we have some electronics here too. And this device, when I designed it, I designed this to be modularized. So when I need different angle, I can switch between the plates to have different functions of this turning knob. And of course, we also have a very nice push button at the center too. So you can see this one. It's made of brass, and these are stainless steels. And, oh, by the way, here, I forgot to mention, by that model, the mapping model, we can go from the data to the human, and also another way around is from human and mapping to the data. So it's as an input device and output device. And also, we also have some device goes in both ways, like this. I made this 12 years ago. This little toy, this little device. Turn out these things don't have any actual use. So this is really just a toy, but a lot of electronics and wiring, of course. This is actually, maybe some of you may recognize this. This is an active fader. So an active fader is a fader that you can, Darth Vader. So this is an active fader that you can input an analog data, and also it can output its position because it has a motor. So I don't know why I make this, because it's just for fun. And really, really, turned out after all this year, we have no practical use of this device. Yeah, and by that time, I used Max MSP to control and interface with this one. Do we still use Max MSP nowadays?
Yeah, some people do, yeah.
Old people, right?
Old people.
Yeah, not me. So yeah, we can see how it works. So here, you can see it is also a ghost detector. So it detects some spiritual things and it moves itself. Yeah, it means there are several ghosts nearby, signal. So you can see, we are quite afraid. So we don't know who is talking, but it seems that it responds to the sound. So you can see a little bit of the sine wave. And you can see showing the input part here. Input and output. So you really know, by this video, you really know it really has no practical use. We really don't know why we make this. Yeah, we want to make the machine sad. Okay, totally impractical. So now, but I guess this device actually is quite fitted the model of how data and the realistic work is mapping each other. Okay, that's all. So yeah, that's so fast. So I have some reflection on this framework. Is that in multisensory mapping, multisensory mapping, it is all about human, the relationship between human and data through some device and mapping process. And in multimodal mapping in art, it, as I understand, is actually from a media A, and then we extract some kinds of data or some essence from media A, and we do some mappings and apply it to media B. I have some example of it. Oh, didn't mean too much. For example, when we have an art about dance, we have a dancer, then we may take a record of the dancer, and we extract the data, maybe the gesture or the rhythm of the dancing, and use those data to recreate some other works like an animation or a projection or something, or music, because we actually see a lot of works make like that. Is maybe from some dance, and then we make that dance and into another art form like music and video art. And so as I think more about it, it is actually media A, for example, a dance. We have the first interpretation. Because for a dance, this happened in the real world, and there's a lot of aspects. For example, the body figure of the dancer, his or her costume, and of course, dance rhythm and the gesture, all kinds of it. But in the first interpretation, we actually choose certain essence from it, but not all. So in this mapping process, we actually go through the first interpretation. We choose data. We choose data, and then we map it into another media. But when we get the data, for example, the rhythm, how we use the data, the rhythm, to map into another art form, for example, an animation, it is another interpretation. So actually, it is quite typical process, but actually when we think more about it, it seems it goes through actually two interpretations by the creator. And I think this interpretation is maybe intentional or unintentional, but nevertheless, it reflects the background of the creator. Maybe his or her preferences when looking things, and also his or her expertise in doing art. So it reflects the background of the creator, intentionally or not, because a lot of artists are unintentional to do their works. Like me, because I already mentioned a lot of time, I do my works for fun. So I rather think it is unintentional, but nevertheless, it reflects my background. Why I'm making some clockworks, why I'm making dinosaurs, why I'm making birds, it reflects my background. And my background is also reflecting the current culture and the world. So it is related to all of us. And I think the interpretation and the data, we actually, in the process, media A and media B, we extract the essence of media A. And from this model, actually, media A and media B is point to the same essence. But the difference is only when media A, you put a perspective A, maybe a dance, it has a perspective of rhythm. Media A and media B maybe is video. Just look at the same rhythm, the same essence, but in different perspective. So in multimodal mapping in art, I think the model is like this. We look, the most important part is actually the essence. We extract from both media, the original one and the reinterpreted one. And this is an example, a dance and an abstract projection. This is from interpretation A. We can find rhythm in dance. And from this rhythm, we create another projection, abstract projection. Is the abstract projection by interpretation B, we also find the same rhythm. So, but it is nuanced inside, because for the dance, the interpretation can be a lot, much wider maybe, because dance, as I mentioned, it involves a lot of things, a lot of essence, a lot of perspective to look into dance. But when you emphasize on in rhythm and create another work, actually your interpretation B is more narrow. So although they seems like they are pointing to the same thing, but the interpretation, maybe we can say the interpretation B is more direct into this rhythm. And so we can say that the remapping is actually more focused to express the rhythm we extract. So it is quite, we can generalize this concept quite far away. And so we can have some conclusion as art is actually a tool for seeking truth, for knowing about our world, because what we are doing is actually language A and language B is pointing to a fact and phenomenon. But sometimes language A is more complex and more subtle to present the same phenomenon or fact, so that another language B may be more direct to express this. So this is also like we learn things or learn concepts from metaphor. Metaphor is like a tool to help us understand more complex or unknown concepts. From a known concept or relatively simple language or metaphor, we can go to the fact or phenomenon more directly. So this is actually a tool to know, to more focus on some fact and phenomenon. And so you can back a step and look at this example. Why sometimes we need to remapping an art, and for myself, at least one of the meaning is to more focus on some essence. But when I say language A and language B, I'm not always pointing to some descriptive language, but also experience. So, and different art form can provide different experiences. So this experience pointing to a fact, and another experience pointing to the same fact. And so art is as a tool, it sometimes create different experience. So you can look at phenomenon or fact in different perspective. So it is an example is that our world, our physical world, we learn a lot of things from our experience. We fell and we see apple falling down, and we play our toy car, and we learn things learn the world through this kind of experience. But also, we have a language A. Language A is physics, math, which a lot of people hate. It describes our world. But another time, we have language B, which is kinetic toys, which I make a lot of them. I make kinetic toys. And it actually is also pointing to our world. So this is what I'm saying. Art can be a tool for seeking truth. And a fact is that a lot of people is like this, right? So this makes the people who makes art, not only me and a lot of my colleagues in making art, we are actually doing a very meaningful job. Thank you.